think about our feet to start with. So, we've talked about noticing 3 points under our feet, under the center, the joint of the big toe, the little toe, and the center of the heel. Imagining that triangular shape and just feeling yourself sort of plant down through that shape. And today I also want you to think about your toes. So to do that and to get that awareness, we just lift up your toes off the ground and see if you can lift them up while keeping the points of that triangular shape pressing down onto the ground. So sometimes, the little toe side might want to lift up. So see if you can press it down and spread out your toes as much as you can and then strum them down onto the floor. So little toe first and then just roll through and sort of plant your toes down with as much space as you can. So do that again. We just lift up and then spread out and then strum the toes down. And then when you look at your feet, it should sort of your toes might look a little bit broader. Do that again. This is something that can get better with time because sometimes we lose that connection of being able to feel and notice parts of our body. And when we do connect with our feet, that has a huge effect on the chain going up the body. So spread out your toes and then little toe down and just strum through. Nice broad feeling. And also feel a bit of a lift through the arch of the foot as you plant your toes down. Do one more. Lift up, stretch out and roll through. And leave them there, sort of planted down. Roll up your towel a little bit and hold it like this. Good. And I want you just to sort of have your hands about as wide as your body and pull apart a little bit and just feel how that opens up your chest. Maybe your shoulder blades slide down your back. Just slip the ribs in toward your body and then float the arms up. Good. That's it. Shoulders down though. Yep. And back down. Keep pulling apart. So the wrist is square. So don't let your wrist kink out. Yeah, that's it. And it almost feels like I pull my little finger side outward to hold that alignment. So do that because that will set the shoulder in a good spot to lift up. Then you'll feel a really good stretch. And back and up and back. Now release that sort of tight, controlled feeling and just swoosh your arms around. Good. And then go around the other way, up and around and up and around and round. So I'm switching which way I'm going. Good. We'll do 2 more. One side might feel easier. Which way is it for you? And relax. Good. And then just pop your hands on your hips and separate your feet to be as wide as your shoulders. And then just swoosh your hips around. So go back, forward with the hips, send them back. And the other way. So I'm going quite far, I'm really, as long as it feels not pinchy. And back to even. Good. And then just come and sit down on the floor. And actually with your towel, you're just going to fold it in half. So it's a small little shape and your feet are going to go together and on top of the towel. Like this. So put your feet balanced on top, right on the arch of your foot there. And once that's set up, then you can lay down on your back. Yep, that looks right. Just checking on your towel. Just have a nice lie down. Legs together. You can feel your inner thighs together. And notice just a nice natural curve of your back. Hands down on the floor. And then we're going to lift our hips straight up off the mat into a bridge. So I want you to push down with your feet and lift up the hips. Now, this will be more wobbly than obviously having your feet wide and on the floor. So see if you can keep steady. It might feel nice just to put your hands there on your hips, because I also want you to feel steady on the way down. So when you come down, see if you can come down letting both hip bones drop evenly. Sometimes when we're in that wobbly shape, we can sort of just fall down and one side will drop quicker than the other, depending on which side is stronger or which side is not feeling as steady through your hips and glutes. So lift up, squeeze your legs together, hold it there, let the ribs come into your body, and then roll down. Good. So go up again. Squeeze your legs together, hold onto your hips to try and keep them level. Now, if you want more of a challenge, you could do a couple more like this with your fingers up to the ceiling. Back and down, but try and come down with evenness. And up, lift the hips up, push down with your feet. Nice steadiness. Back and down. Good. And again. It's surprising how just having your feet up like that and together, how wobbly that makes you feel, and also you feel the back of the legs. Keep your legs together all the time. And if you, yeah, that's looking great. Good. And then pause when you're on the last one you're on now, and just pick up that towel with your feet and pass it to your hands. And then still keeping it in that little rounded shape, you're going to pop it under your hips. So lift up the hips again and just pop that under the pelvis there. So your hip bones are level, and you'll just find where it should be depending on how it feels when we do our pelvic tilts. So you're just going to tilt the pelvis towards you and then away. So when you tilt away, you go into a little arch in the back, and you might feel like your tailbone's dropping off the end of the towel. And then just back the other way. And breathe in when you arc, and exhale the other way. And so with this one, let's try to move from the sacrum, the bone at the base of your spine, right there, the lowest part of your back, where the towel is resting. See if you can make the movement from there. So not squeezing your glutes, not necessarily pulling a big pelvic floor lift, just tipping the bones almost. And, you know, if it doesn't feel right or it feels uncomfortable, you can always get rid of the towel and do this one just laying on the floor, of course. But having the towel there might, especially on the arch, it might feel really nice to go into a bit of extension there and just arch your low back. And then come back to feeling even. Slight little curve, and then the other way. So make sure you use your breath. Inhale. Tip away, exhale toward you. No need to grip anything really tight. Just think of the bones rocking. Lightness in your feet. And then back to even. We'll lift up our legs into tabletop now. So one, and then the other. So adjust your towel if you need to, and I've just put my hands down on the floor. We're going to tap one toe down to the mat, lift it back up. Tap the other toe down, lift it back up. Nice and slow, deliberate, smooth and light. That's it, stay with me, go as slow. So we go down and up, and down and up, down and up, down. Let your shoulders feel so easy, don't let them pull up to your ears. I'd say we could do another 4 here. I'm breathing out when the leg goes away, just to sort of keep my body connected, letting my ribs slide down. And last one. And then just put one foot down and then pop the other one. Good. Now lift up your hips, take that towel out and put your hips on the floor. Oh, it feels so flat. And then we're going to lift our legs again. So one up and then the other, glue them together. Okay, then I'm going to keep my knees together but take my toes wide. So I'm actually rolling my thigh bones inward, and then I'll bring my toes back together, and then I turn my toes outward and back together. So we're moving the thigh bone, really good on our hips to have that ability to do that internal rotation and back. Yeah, you've got it. Yep, that's the way. When you turn the toes outward and your thigh bones spiral inward, think of your sit bones getting broader. And then as the feet come together, think of your sit bones coming together. So as the feet go apart, you roll the legs inward, the sit bones get wider, and as the feet come together, the sit bones draw in. So there's this connection of how the thigh bone moves to our pelvic floor. So as the sit bones move, it can have a effect on our pelvic floor, and that's enough. And then we just put our feet down and give our hips a little rest. Nice. Then the next thing to do is have your feet hip distance apart again. And I want you to find that triangular shape under the sole of your foot and then lift up your toes. Strum your toes down and spread them broad. Feel a little arch through the arch of your foot, lifting up. And then lift up your hips into a bridge. Okay. Now, from here, when you start to come down, think of drawing your heels towards your sit bones and feel that connection as you put your back on the floor, back down on the floor. And again, so we're going to lift the toes, strum them down, lift the hips, feel the heels draw towards the sit bones as you come all the way down. Good. Once you're down, toes lift up. Lay them down, spread them out. See if you can notice each toe down, and then push the hips up. As you come down, you've got this feeling of the heels drawing towards your sit bones, and you'll feel the back of the legs really working hard there, all the way down. Let everything relax. Toes up and roll through the toes. Push up the hips. Feel that drawing of the heels. It sort of lifts the arch up as I pull the heels almost toward me as I roll down. Do 2 more. Up with the toes, stretch them broad, lay them down. Up you go. And down. And this will be our last one. Toes up, stretch them, strum them down, and up. And really activate the back of the legs. Come all the way back and down. Now, with your towel, just grab your towel again, but spread it out. And you can just pop that behind the back of your leg, back of your thigh, just to help you hold your leg up like this. We're going to give the hamstring a little stretch. So we just point your toes up and bend the knee again. So bend and straighten. Good. If you wanted a little extra, you could always leave the leg straight and then flex and point your ankle, your toes. So the stretch becomes a little bit more nerve involved. Gliding the nerve there, the back of the leg. It might feel nicer just to keep going with the up and the down. Good. Let's just go over to the other side. And there you go. So just take it gently. Your leg, you know, when I do this, if it feels super tight, my leg goes really shaky. Maybe I've gone a little bit too far, so I just take it gently, bend and straighten. And isn't it amazing how if you do a couple, you can feel super tight, and then by the time we've done 10 or so like this, it feels much easier to straighten the leg. That's it. Good, and then just pop your feet down on the mat. I'll give you 2 options for the next one. We will do some chest lift using the towel behind the back of the head, and we're going to do a couple like this. If you have osteoporosis though, let's fold the towel and put it back under the hips. I'll show you what to do first and then we'll go into the chest lift. So osteoporosis, let's have the towel under here and we'll lift our legs up and we'll do some of our single leg stretch. So one leg goes out and then the other. Really deliberate, nice and smooth. Shoulders down. Breathe out when you stretch the leg and let your ribs sink in toward your body. Okay, so you could choose to do that one, or if you want to do chest lift, you can put the towel behind the back of your head. And we're just going to tuck the chin slightly and curl up into a little lift. And then back and down. Let's touch our lower back into the mat for this one today. So just let your lower back find the mat, let it touch the mat, keep it there when you lift up and keep it there when you lay down. So breathe out when you lift, breathe in to go back. Your head should just feel quite heavy in your arms there. Your arms are holding up your head. So the effort might be backs of the arms and your abdominals. Make your feet nice and light. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can lift up like this and then reach the towel over, touch your thighs, reach it back behind your head, and then go back down. So come up, hold it there. We do a big reach over. Good. Now put it back behind your head without dropping down. Back, and then you go down. 2 more like that. Come up. A big stretch. Good. Back behind your head. Stay up, up, up. And back. 1 more. Breathe out to lift. Breathe in and reach. Breathe out. Put the towel back. And breathe in and lengthen your body all the way down. And relax. Good. Just roll over to your side. If you had the towel under your hips, you take it out and roll over. I don't know about you, but I always find the towel behind the head, it does help with the little chest lift up. It's quite handy. And here on our side, we'll just set our position up well. So hand on the hip, lengthen that hip away. Okay, maybe lay down on your arm. And we're going to lift up the leg level with the top leg level with the underneath leg. And we're going to go back to that little internal and external rotation. So we're just going to aim the knees together. And then toes come together and the knee lifts up. Then we go inward and then outward. And in and out. So nice and steady, because we want to keep this hip lengthened away. Our hand is here on the hip, reminding us to keep still. That's good. So when I put my knees together, I'm trying to avoid letting my whole hip help me there. So if I keep my hip up there, then it's much harder to actually put my knee together, because if I wanted to, I'd actually sort of drop my hip forward. So see if you can just be aware of how steady you can make that, because it's a range of motion that we need to practice. And then hold it there with the foot up and the knee aiming down, and just hold that shape. Hold it there. So my knees aren't actually touching here, I'm just holding that internal rotation. And then put your leg back and down. Good. And then help yourself up. Bring that leg over. Take a little stretch. Let's do the other side. Spin around. Now take a little moment just to get yourself set up. Makes all the difference. Just a micro adjustment can change how it feels for you. Lift up the top leg and then in and out. So I know I said knees together, toes together, but what if they don't actually touch? Because I think that way you might have a better experience of the actual movement, the rotation that we're going for here. That's it, keep going. And then hold it on the internal rotation, And just hold it there for a little moment. That's it. See if you can get a little bit more rotation inward. And then relax. Help yourself up. And a nice little stretch. And then we're going to have one foot in front and one foot behind on quite a bit of a stretch out. So it's a bit like our Z sit position, but more stretched out. So I think of this shin bone is level with that edge of the mat, and then I've just got 90 degrees here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to perch my hands behind, and then I'm going to swoosh around and look the other way. And then come back and face me again. Good. And again, so just go around. Here you are. And then come on back. All right, see how you go no hands. So we come back. And then when we turn around, I want you to open your arms out really wide, lift up your chest. And then as you come back to face me, turn your arms in. And when you're here, there you are. Nice. And come round and open, big stretch, and come back. And if you're like me, you're going for a walk off your mat. And we'll do one more and then we'll get ourselves back in position and stretch. And it's fine to do this with your hands on the floor as well. And stretch. Good. And then come around onto your tummy. Feels quite nice to fold up the towel. You can put your forehead on there. If you've got glasses, take them off and you can just rest your forehead there on the towel. Might feel nice on your neck. And then put your hands out like a goalpost shape just off the edge of your mat. Stretch your feet out, your legs long, and notice your feet down on the ground, stretching your legs out. Now feel like you're pressing your pubic bone down towards the ground. You've got a little lift of the tummy off the floor, and then keep that there and lift your legs up off the floor. Good, hold it there. Just let your head relax there on that towel. No tension into your head or neck. And then put your feet all the way back down. Let's do it again. So you set yourself up so you've made a length in your low back. You've got strength coming from your core, and then you float your legs and hold it there. And back and down. And then you lift. Now, hold it there. Turn your toes to point out and your heels aim toward each other. And then put your toes to point each other and the heels are out. So go external rotation and internal rotation, external rotation, internal rotation, back to even, back and down. Give your hips a little shake. The next thing is just to leave our feet flat on the ground. Notice the top of your foot down, and then just look up over your towel. Lift up your eyes and your chest, and keep the ribs down on the mat. And we hold that shape there. See how you go now, letting your ribs stay heavy on the ground. Lighten off the weight of your hands and float your arms up. Hold it there. Really good on your upper back. Arms go down and then you go down. Do that again. So just look forward, chest goes forward. Keep the bottom part of the ribs connected, and then float the arms. Hold. If your low back feels perfectly fine there, you also can float the legs. But you could maybe just leave the legs down. If it twinges or it goes into your low back, it's best to leave the legs on the floor. Just hold it there. You're doing really well. Shoulders are slipping down your back, your scapula toward each other and down. Hold it. Keep breathing. And then everything goes down ever so slowly. Good. And then hands beside you. Back to rest position. And then on to your hands and knees. Right. Line yourself up. I'm going to tuck the toes under. And I want to slip my shoulder blades together, shoulder blades apart, shoulder blades together and apart, and together and apart, together and apart. Leave them apart, press all your fingertips down, tuck your toes under, feel like you're drawing in your tummy, so much so that your knees just hover. And then they go back down softly, softly. And again, press your shoulders and your arms down to lift up. Float the belly up, float the knees up. Back and down, 2 more. Let's breathe out to lift. Breathe in to softly go down. And breathe out to lift. And hold for 1 more little moment there. Back and down, and then just walk your hands back towards your knees, shift your weight back onto your feet, then you're standing up. Give your wrists a little roll. So now, 1 foot down, we're going to lift the toes, roll them down onto the mat. Lift up out of that leg, feel the arch of the foot pressing down, so you've felt this connection from the floor, you've got the arch lifting you up. Oh no, I forgot the towel, sorry. I think it helps for balance. Sorry. And then the other leg, once we've got that lift, we can float the knee up. Just hold that balance. That's it. So you could look past the screen, look somewhere where you can find a steady point to look at. Nice and steady. You could stay here, or you could reach the toe back, touch the toe back, and then reach it up and go up with the arms. So when the toe taps back behind you, the arms reach down, and you tip forward, and then you bring the knee up and the arms go up. Pull apart on that band so it gives you that help. The whole body connected to help you there. 1 more. Toe taps back and up, up, up. That's it. Practice. Put your big toe down if you need a little help. And then back and down. The other side, let's just lift your toes, roll through, lift up out of that leg, and there you are, standing on 1 leg. Up with the arms. Tap the toe back, tip forward a little, and then come up, 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 pull apart on that towel, it will help you. Hold it there, go back, and up. lift up from that arch of the foot all the way up and back and up. Hold. You got it. Look somewhere steady. Yay, that's it. You can do it. And back and down. Okay. Heels together, toes apart. So now we have an external rotation. You can feel the sit bones draw together. Okay, this gives you this tight wrapping feeling. Let's use that external rotation for balance by just hovering the heels the tiniest little bit off the floor. Keep the heels together, but just float them. When our sit bones are together like this, with this external rotation, it helps us find our center, that lift through the pelvic floor as well. Well, stay there with the heels lifted and just lift the arms up and down and up and down. Now, stay there in this little balance position. Look over one shoulder and back, over, one more each way. And then heels down. Put your feet together now. Lift your arms up and take a little back bend. You can either hinge forward with osteoporosis, otherwise we'll take a roll down. Bend your knees a little as you just fold forward. Let your head go. And then rolling back up. And then arch. So it will look like this with a hinge instead. So we just go forward and a little tip. Still getting a nice stretch on the back and the legs. And back up, little arch, and back to even. Separate your feet, last move. Okay, so we go, the towel goes that way, your hips go the other, and then you go around. So we go this way and that way. If you just do one way, then we'll switch. Okay, I've got one way going. That's a positive. And then go the other way. There we are. So if you don't think about it, you can move your shoulders and your hips in. They'll just move naturally together. Sometimes we overanalyze things. It can make it harder, not easier. And back. Roll your shoulders. And we're done. Thank you.